Coming up, get an easy life with Hable.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Priest.
You know, I've ever been told that my accent sounds aggressive, Shaun Priest.
Really?
Happy New Week, by the way.
Happy New Week to you, sir.
Yeah. So I think saying get an easy life sounds a little bit aggressive coming from me, doesn't it? It sounds more like a command than a suggestion.
I was going to say you sounded like a voiceover guy there.
Oh.
I think Rob may be having words with you after, because I sounded like an advert, Stephen Scott.
Oh, you think I could do the old
do it again.
world?
No, do the Hable thing again. Go on, one more.
What did I say? Oh, yeah. Get an easy life with Hable.
Okay, now the Hable was good. The start was a little bit aggressive. We'll work on it anyway.
You're critiquing my voiceover abilities here. I'm not even a voiceover artist. And I'm not even a voiceover, and you're critiquing me.
I'm just saying, you've got a beautiful broadcast voice, Stephen Scott. We all know it. It's fine. Just aggressive, that's all. Anyway, happy Monday.
Hello, everybody. New week, new dawn. In the UK, we finally got summertime, whatever that means.
Oh, yeah, the clocks did spring forwards, fall back. I can never remember how it works, but yes,
I don't know
the clocks have changed.
I don't know either, but no, it's certainly no more creeping down in the middle of the night for... Yeah. Stop it. Can't do it anymore. Lights all night, so can't do it.
So loud.
Is it?
Yes,
It's not mine.
it's annoying.
It's fine. Hang on, are you talking about me or the cookie thing?
Both.
Right. Okay.
Did you know, Stephen Scott, stop there before you kick off. Did you know, if you want to rearrange the order of your pinned apps on the taskbar in Windows...
Hang on. Whoa. Hang on. Don't you dare start the show with tech. I'm sorry. I am sorry. We are contractually obliged to absolutely not start the show with tech. So, come on. What are you doing here?
So by using the Alt, Shift, and left or right arrows to move the icons along the horizontal list there. There you go, just using that one. That's the pinned apps in the taskbar. Alt, Shift, left and right arrows will move them around. Thank you.
Why would you want to do that?
Now, the reason, I know this would confuse you. The reason I said that is because I was asking AI, all of them, over the weekend, how do I rearrange these apps on the taskbar? And all of them said, well, you just get the mouse and you drag it. No. I'm a screen reader user. I'm blind. I want to use the keyboard. Oh, you can't do it. Can't be done.
Oh.
AI was wrong, sir.
Failed.
A quick Google about, the old-fashioned Google search, and through the Microsoft technical support articles and screen reader and taskbar, keyboard shortcuts, Alt, Shift, left and right, or right arrows will move them around. And there is so many forum posts from, I'm going to say, the mainstream. They're saying, Windows 11, you can't rearrange these icons now. It's terrible. Well, get yourself a screen reader and use the keyboard shortcuts. It's beautiful.
So, hang on, you're suggesting that everyone should use a screen reader on planet Earth because then you can just move your icons around in that particular area of Windows?
Actually, I'm not even sure if you need a screen reader. That keyboard shortcut may work without screen reader anyway.
Hang on, we're in a bit of an emergency over here at Double Tap Towers. Just a little bit of a second here, but a little pause because, I just realised... The cap is off my water bottle and I grazed it with my hand.
I can't stand. It's just like adolescence all over again. I can't stand the tension, Stephen Scott.
And we do it one shot as well.
All right, everyone just don't move.
Everything's fine.
Stay
Give
calm.
me a second. Let me just put this cap back on.
Right. Have you found the cap?
I've got the cap. It's back on the bottle. It's fine. I don't know why I'm showing it, but there you are. It's fine. Everything's fine. That was a moment of tension right there.
Okay, well done. You took us away from the tech, so good on you, Stephen Scott. Over to you.
I have a tip if you want one, or certainly a little bit of news from the Android front. This is very unusual for me, but playing around with the Samsung S25 Plus, very nice little phone, by the way. It's almost like Samsung looked at an iPhone 14 and said, let's do that.
Well, that's very nice, Stephen Scott.
A little bit. I mean, this is what it is.
Of a barbed
not going to lie to you, mate. It absolutely is what it is. But yes, basically, there are lots of different ways you can use TalkBack and lots of cool different things with TalkBack you can learn. And there's subtle differences between Samsung's TalkBack and Android TalkBack. It seems that it's almost like Samsung is used as a trial sometimes for new features. And there was one I found which is now available on Android regular. So if you've got any other type of Android phone, like Pixel or otherwise, you'll be able to get this as well. It's in Android 15. And what it does is it lets you change the volume of TalkBack. Before, what I used to do was I'd have to press the down key on the side for volume, press it down, and then swipe across to find the accessibility volume slider, because actually it brings up a number of sliders. You can choose whatever ones you want, right? You could have media, you can have accessibility, you can have system volume.
Yes,
it's
different
not like,
volume levels for different things. It's
full control.
Very cool.
Oh, it's great because you don't get that on the iPhone, right? So, this is great. You can actually select the specific media or whatever. You could have music playing in the background at a certain level and control all of that. But doing it was quite fiddly, trying to get to the specific slider and then, using the volume buttons to control it. What they've done now is you just hold one finger. So you put the phone down flat, you hold one finger on the screen, and then you use the volume up and down button, and that will automatically change the TalkBack volume on your phone. So I think that's actually really nice. And if you use it otherwise, it'll just change the system volume. If you don't hold your finger on the screen, you just use the up and down.
Is that new?
I think it is. I haven't ever seen that before. I've never heard that before.
Oh, okay. What's going on? That's 2 tech tips.
I don't know what is going on here at Double Tap today.
Things are changing.
I want a quick mention to Grace, who got in touch with us. She got in touch last week. We talked about her message, which we didn't play in, but we kind of wanted to pick up on the fact that, a couple of people were a little bit, I think, annoyed, by my reaction to you getting your finger slammed in the door in the Uber car. And we talked about that. Well, Grace came back over the weekend, and I'm not playing in her message again, only because I'm not actually sure if she wanted it played in or not. Now, you may well want it played in, Grace, in which case I will. But I wasn't sure, so we decided to err on the side of caution. And basically the message said, look, maybe I took it a little bit too far, maybe I overreacted. Although, I get it. I get where you're coming from, Grace. You've heard the way I'm talking to him. You're probably thinking, what on earth? What a monster. This guy's going to have a Netflix series made about him. He's such a monster. But, she said, look, maybe I overreacted a little bit. And I know you had been in touch with May as well, who'd been in touch on this. So, I think you talking to them and explaining that, I'm just an idiot and I find lots of things funny, and particularly you.
Yes.
That was the situation.
An idiot, but not a first-class idiot.
No, she said in the message,
pointed out.
You're not a first-class idiot, as I first said you were. I've got to say, I think you can call me a first-class idiot whenever you want. I think it's warranted, actually, from time to time. Absolutely. So I wouldn't worry about that, Grace.
But again, thank you for getting in touch anyway, and thank you for caring. I was touched.
Did you feel the love?
I did. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, May.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Well, let's move on because I want to get into some emails. Shall we do some emails? Because God knows we've got a few.
Hit the jingle.
Oh, I like that. Do that again.
Hit the jingle.
Yeah.
Email. We get your email every day.
Don't know what I was looking for in that, to be honest.
Here's your mail today.
Oosh, and I missed the ding dong. Oh, it's a shambles. We can only apologise.
This show needs some order to it, doesn't it? If only. Hey, by the way, Mr. F.
Oh? A quiet Mr. F. He's far away.
This is big news. I might even go as far to say...
Breaking news.
I don't quite know. This music won't stop playing, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, basically, Mr. F is going to be in the building. He's visiting Double Tap Towers.
What? Why wasn't I informed? I need a suit. I need a haircut.
No, he's not coming to
tie.
you. He came to see you last year. It's his turn to come and see me this year. I've got to say,
right. Yes.
I'm a little bit nervous about this visit.
As you should be, obviously.
Because all he said was, let's not talk about work. Now, what that usually suggests to me is we're going to talk about work.
Of course.
And also he said, I have a lot of faith and confidence in you and your show. And I'm thinking, well, I've heard this before.
Oh, no.
Usually before I'm taken outside and told, okay, your pass has been revoked, don't come back.
Back.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming.
All your belongings are in this box. Please leave the building. And it's your house. That's going to be fun.
I know. Actually, you throw me out of my own house. I don't know how that works.
Mr. F inspection of the Scottish division of
right.
Double Tap Towers. It's going to be interesting. That'll be nice.
That will be nice. It'll be nice to see him. And, well, it depends. I mean, if he fires us, then it will not be nice to see him.
We will find out.
We'll see what happens. It'll be fine. I mean, look, we'll tell you tomorrow. If it's all coming to an end, maybe he'll give us one more shot to tell you, okay?
Yes.
But just to be very clear, I don't think anything's going to happen. Okay, I know people worry around here, so just please, everything's fine. I'm careful about what I joke about these days. I'm like,
we hope it's
everything's
fine.
a joke. It's fine.
He's coming a long way to see you. Let me just say
That's the thing. That's the bit that ever concerns me when someone says, "Hey, I'm only coming to see you," and like, okay,
perhaps I'm fine. That's the main
maybe
thing.
that's it. Maybe I'm gone. It's the Shaun show. I think people would applaud that.
Tune in tomorrow to see what happens.
It's the Shaun show.
Yeah, it'll only be 5 minutes long, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, good luck with the YouTube, mate. Right, let's go to some emails, and we'll kick off with this one from Daisy.
Hi there, all. I am not convinced about the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses in terms of purchasing them yet.
Oh.
However, I do think there is mainstream potential, mainstream being the key word here. On the other hand, I'm glad the Echovision interview finally dropped. I've been waiting for it for a while now. I'm glad that the Echovision glasses are being made more for the blind in mind. However, I do want some mainstream sorts of abilities on there. First, at least, being able to link my contacts, send and read text, make calls, and somehow be able to access the virtual assistant on the phone. Plus, I think there will be a button on there, anyway. Even if the virtual assistant isn't, something there to say trigger Siri. I do hope that Echovision will develop their own AI that you can trigger with a button or by a trigger word. Since it'll most likely be something for the blind, expanded I hope with additional features such as setting reminders, adding something to the calendar and other activities, having the option to set your default virtual assistant would be great as well, although they did mention that various AI models are being used and that the person has the option to choose whether they want descriptions from Gemini or some other source. I certainly dream that something like WhatsApp, which a bunch of people use, not including myself however, will somehow one day or another be there. A joke I've been saying about the Meta Ray-Bans, however, that may get me to buy the glasses is to have Discord on there, which is a social media platform that I use a lot to communicate with friends and communities. On a final note, I'm glad at least Echovision is below $1,000 in US dollars. At least I'll be more likely to buy a pair of these rather than Envision. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing excellent out there. Best regards from Daisy in the state of Nebraska.
Wow, thank you, Daisy. And you know what? We've got another slogan there. Echovision, the blind in mind. That's beautiful.
That's okay.
All right. There's still a lot of excitement about the Echovision. I've got to say, I kind of feel I didn't do my job properly when I got hands-on with them. Because of the lack of look and tell over here in the UK, I kind of just concentrated on, okay, what can you see? What can you see? What can you see? And didn't really go into some of the other features like you mentioned there, Daisy, about making phone calls, the standard stuff that we kind of expect to be there, but I didn't double check on that stuff.
Yeah, but this is the problem. I think the issue I always have when you're doing these demonstrations, whatever it might be, is you kind of do need to have it at home because, when someone says to you, okay, here's this AI device, talk to it. The first thing is, like, what am I going to say? I can't even think. It's like if someone said to me, do a Google search now, pink elephants with cheese. I don't know. I don't know what to say or put in.
You obviously don't know. That's slightly
I have to
strange.
say, I'm intrigued a little bit by that. I can sense someone creating an image and sending me that right now.
Someone's Googling that right now. The Echovisions, though, there is something, that blind focus is really intriguing, right? I mean, we all love the Meta Ray-Bans. Of course we do. They filled that gap, and the price point has a lot to do with that. But there is something about being tailored to our needs that intrigues people. And as I said, people are very excited. And the cool thing about Echovision is it's completely open. You got none of this, can anyone get in contact with Meta to get their app on board? It's a completely open platform, so anyone can use the Echovision so far anyway. Be My Eyes is on there, Ira's on there. Should be no reason why you can't pass through to the voice assistant whatsoever. You can usually do that with anything that's classed as a headphone anyway. With the Ray-Bans, you can still say, hey, Lady S, and use Siri. So I can't see that being an issue. But
I think once they start getting out there with this and people are actually using it all the time, and we have got a conversation coming up again with a Giga that we recorded at CSUN. That's going to be airing this week. In fact, maybe tomorrow if we get it done in time. The final edit on that is coming, but we want to get that out because we didn't just speak to the guys from a Giga. We also spoke to a longtime friend of the show, Kevin Chow. who's been trying them out, and he talks a lot about the different ways he uses them and how he enjoys them. And I said to Giga as well, I said, look, we really want to get hands-on with these, because again, it's that thing of all we kind of have here is our imagination about what this product is and what it can do. Until you actually road test it, until you actually get the chance. It's like when Gregory did the demo with Celeste, that is no more, sadly. Being supported currently, but not, if you still have it. But certainly as far as the road map is concerned, the road's run out. But, the potential there was great and we could hear it. We could actually sense that with the demonstration. And that's what we need with Echovision. I feel there's a lot of talk about it. Some would say the same about other products like Glide. I remember someone saying during season, I've never seen so much interest in a product that isn't even out,
That seems to be the norm nowadays, though, to be honest.
Have you seen the rumours about Apple's 17 Air phone, that isn't even out yet, isn't even confirmed? So that rumours excite people. But I think what we're interested in here, because it's of a practical nature, right? Because this is stuff that we need to do, that we, can enhance our lives greatly, give us more independence. That's why I think we're more interested in kind of like, okay, I need to see this, I need to try this. And at the price point, I think Echovision may have done something very clever here, may have got this right. We'll need to see how it works in practice, but I am intrigued, very intrigued.
So
it certainly would be one
isn't it?
hands-on.
That's the thing. It just feels like we can smell it. We're so close to having that thing that could make a big difference. It's just seems like it's round the corner. We're impatient for it.
Well, here's Pete, who feels it's round the corner, but maybe not close enough.
Oh.
Hi to both of you. Unless I missed it on today's podcast regarding the Echovision glasses, it wasn't made clear that you can only purchase or pre-order them if you are in the USA. I visited their website with the intention of pre-ordering them, but luckily I decided to read the FAQ section first, and only there did it tell you that you can only pre-order them if you live in the USA. I think this will be very disappointing for those of us that are in the UK, as the pre-order price is really good. Plus, you would get the AI features for free for life. From Pete.
Yeah, this is a problem.
Wow.
But look, we did raise this with the Giga people, and the bottom line is a lot of this is to do with the challenges they have in getting products across and out of America. I even find it when you're buying a product. I brought something the other week it came from Korea. It was a Korean company, and it actually came from Korea, and the import fees were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. This is having a big impact. And of course, without getting into the whole subject of tariffs, this is another area where, companies are really going to struggle getting products out. This could be a real problem actually for us long term, because it may be very difficult for these products to get out of the countries that they're from, unless they can get partnerships with distributors in these local countries, or outside of the UK or the US or wherever else.
It's the relationship with distributors that needs to happen. But if a product is going to take off, which the Echovision might well do, there's so much interest in it, then it could be picked up fairly quickly for other countries. But I don't know. I've heard different information about this, but I would go off the information off the website from Giga themselves. If that's what it says, I would go with that.
And reach out to them. Reach out to them, because they're always willing to respond. They want people's feedback. And, if there's a market, and look, clearly there is a market for this, right? It may not be a huge market, but there is a market. And, I think we need to, they need to address this in some way to figure out a way of getting these products out there.
We should just say that the free subscription for life offer for pre-orders, that's finished. That was available at the start. So even if you do manage to pre-order them, I believe that free subscription offer has finished, which is a shame.
Now, look, here at Double Tap, we get all kinds of emails on lots of topics, and we never really know what is going to get the most reaction. But there is one particular topic that came up recently from the Kansas kid, and it was driving. And I think this has opened up a lot of thoughts, feelings.
Held in feelings that we locked away deep inside ourselves.
It's brought up a lot. It did it for me, and I know it did it for others. So, I want to play on this email from the original E.T.
Hello, Laura, Shaun, Stephen, the original E.T. here. I wanted to speak firstly on mental health and blindness. I lost my sight over many, many years due to RP. At the age of 18, I had to stop driving after about a year and a half of enjoying it. It was very difficult, but I carried on as the years went by. Now, 50 years later, a friend of mine decides to come along and take me out and let me do a joyride in about a foot of fresh snow and spin donuts with his car under his guidance. I had a great time, but as I was doing this, I suddenly became unnerved, very nervous. I asked if I could go back to the house. We went back to the house and I turned around and I thanked him very graciously. What a joy it was to be able to do that, but the worst thing about it is that every emotion that I felt when I had to hand over my keys and give up my license when I was a teenager flooded back like a tsunami. I had made up my mind at that time, I do not need this. So, I've never done the donuts in a parking lot or even sat behind the wheel and driven out in the field. About Negative Julian on Friday the 28th. I disagree with him totally. He has a right to his opinion, but he had his hat on backwards that day. The fact is that I never go out without my sunglasses and my cane. If I go out with just my cane, I can guarantee that I may meet someone who wonders why I have a white cane when I look like I can see. That's the nature of RP. Our eyes look normal. So Julian, no, you can't go out half-baked. You got to put on a pair of sunglasses and use the white cane, and there's a reason for that. You talked about books, Stephen. Have you ever tried 11 Labs Reader? It will take any zip file, as in a book from Celia Library or from other libraries that are e-text, and it will use an AI voice to read it. It's a free app, it works really good, and I can give you a rundown on how it works if you wish at some time. Check it out. Another point about you guys maybe having too much fun or going over the top a little. You know, you can always pause it during that point and wait until you guys have straightened it out with yourselves. Lol. Keep doing what you're doing. You're being real, and that's what makes a huge difference to me. I appreciate every bit of what you guys do, how you do it, and especially Laura reading all this stuff. And I'm not finished yet. I've still got some other points here. I would also like to clarify for Shaun and Stephen and anyone else that is listening, I turned airplane mode on and I used Siri using the button on the side of my phone to activate her. And I could open up any app in my phone that I had tried. Now, I did about 9 or 10. I didn't want to go through the whole 124 apps that I had, but it plainly seems that you can do that without being in any internet position. Now, one more thing I do have to say. There are definitions, about 3 or 4 of them, for the word Trump. I invoked Siri, and I said, Siri, could you please define Trump? Well, the first one she gave was about how it's a card that covers any other card in all sorts of different card games. But the second one was the most factual definition I have ever heard about Trump, and that is it's breaking wind audibly. This is the perfect definition of what is supposedly a man called the President in the United States. Oh, by the way, Mr. F, you can't fire me, and I hope you won't send a lawyer after me, lol. Everybody take care. Thanks for listening. I hope you read all of this, Laura. It's worth it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's worth it because he's worth it. Thank you, E.T.
Well, we always read your emails. That's the deal around here at Double Tap. We will. If you want them on air, we'll put them on air. Unless you're being particularly rude or nasty about something. But, I've never ever come across that with Double Tap listeners.
Driving, really emotional. You know what? I can totally relate to that point of something. I'm going to use it, being triggered, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost become a laughing point at this time, but it's an actual thing. Absolutely. You can be triggered and something can take you back. I always remember every time I go for a eye hospital appointment, and when they start reading through your notes, the lengthy notes that most of us have got, and they start going through, well, you were this and then, and you had this and this. And it always sort of chokes me up a little bit because I don't want to relive all that. I always say, can we skip all that? Mm. And it's so easy to just go back to those because, there's always been emotional times with this sight loss gig, as I like to call it. So, I totally understand that.
Yeah, all of that. I want to mention the 11 Labs thing. I haven't really played with 11 Labs. I know a lot of people are. I know everyone seems to be raving about it. It's interesting, actually, because I do have some content that I want to. Someone has given me like actual paper.
Who?
Idiots. That's who they are. Idiots.
Caveman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first class idiots. And they've given me this paper with, so I guess they've printed out a PDF.
Writing on it.
Writing and words. And there's like images on there and stuff. And I thought, right, hang on a minute. So this is information for something that I'm doing. And I'm like, right, I want to turn this into audio. So my first thinking is, well, I'll scan the images and then, try and get AI to... I'm thinking if I get AI to almost just take it and do something with it to turn the whole thing into a script, I don't know if it'll be able to do that with the images. It might. I'm going to try it. Because that's often sometimes the challenge, isn't it? It's almost like you're battling back with OCR again. Forget the images for a second, but then actually, hang on, I need the images because those are important. But how do I break that down and make sense of it, in an audio context? So
you need the images described, in Be My Eyes style. Or, AI is the answer.
So, essentially we'll AI the whole thing and then, get maybe something like 11 labs to read it. That would be quite cool. Yeah.
I haven't used it because you need to pay for it, so I haven't used it.
Well, there's a free option.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's a free play option.
I'm going in. But is it only using Daniel's voice or something?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Talking of books, I've been using Dolphin Easy Reader lately.
I want to do a show on this. Honestly,
it's been out a long time, and we talked about it before when it was first released. But I've started to get back into it, and I've got to say, it is impressive. I've got it on the iPhone, I've got it on my Windows laptop, and I signed up for the RNIB reading services, newsagents, Caliber. Couldn't get Bookshare to sign me up for some reason. It didn't like it over here, but yeah, it's so cool. I read the 2017 NVDA Basic Training Daisy book. And it's very good. I've had it since 2017, first time I've read it. But yeah, Easy Reader, absolutely such a cool app.
It is. I like it.
So
I decided to buy the premium version.
Of course you did.
Well, because I wanted the premium voices. Now, I don't really understand what happened because I paid for it. It tells me I've bought it. But whenever I go into the app, it just doesn't show up. There's no way I can get. And every time I go back to say, okay, I'll go download the voice I wanted, it just says you got to buy premium. And I'm like, but I did buy premium, so I don't have to wait a couple of days. I need to buy more. Yeah, I know. So every time I go back to say buy premium again, it says, well, you've already done this. So I don't know what's going on. So maybe it'll take a couple of days to update. Also, the RNIB the RNIB reading services, which used to be called Talking Books in the good old days. Bit confusing because I tried to log in and it just kept saying failed login. And the only way I could get essentially the option again to sign in via Easy Reader was to uninstall the app, uninstall Easy Reader, reinstall it, go back through all the process of signing in again, and then go to your RNIB's reading services and then attempt to sign in. And then it still wouldn't let me in. So I thought, okay, enough of this. So I went back to the reading services website, and there's a notice on the front page which says, if you use Easy Reader, what you have to do is log in to the RNIB reading services website on there, add a book to your library. You don't have to download it, but just add a book to the library, and then close the Easy Reader app, open it again, and try and log in again. And eventually you'll get there. And it did work. But I thought, what on earth was that all about?
We should clarify, they said this is a technical problem and should not happen again. So they had a glitch.
Yes.
That's not the usual way to do it.
No, you have to do it every time. But I mean, why do we have to do it in the first place? What's going on there?
Well, there was a technical snafu, I believe
what?
it's called. Look, I don't know. I'm not doing their server maintenance, but something happened. It broke. You fixed it. Everything's rosy. All right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wasn't overly impressed by that process, but okay. At least it was on the website, and I did go through it.
I'll be honest with you. No, I using the Easy Reader app on Windows, I went to the RNIB reading services. I wasn't overly impressed of the way to navigate through the list of books and things like that. It just felt like a website from the 1980s I was navigating through. But I mean, it's perfectly accessible. But on the phone, it was a lot nicer experience.
Very wordy, I find. Some of these websites, it's not just the RNIB one, but I've seen others that are very wordy. It's just like, this isn't meant to be a book in itself. This is a website, I want to get to the books.
I just think more work on the interface.
More work on the interface. And this whole thing of, and I guess it's a legal thing, I'm assuming that, but what you have to do with the RNIB one, I don't know if it's the case with others, on the website at least, is you have to essentially, you find the book you want, and then you mark it for download. But then you have to go to a menu item, kind of buried in the menu, pending downloads. And then when you go to pending downloads, then you have to download it from there. And that's when you get the book. And I'm like, why is that? Why can't I just click on download the book? But when I go to Easy Reader, I can, and I think honestly, I think most people would probably prefer to use Easy Reader for that if they had the choice.
It is very nice. The Premier, if you want to pay, is it a subscription or a one-off payment for Easy Reader?
For Easy
don't even
Reader,
know.
You can get the free version,
Yes.
or you can pay $4.99 a month or £49 a year. I think it is.
And what that gives you is the ability to sync your books across devices. So whatever I've read or wherever I'm up to on my Windows laptop in Easy Reader will be shown on my iPhone. Right now, it doesn't. They're
No.
separate devices. So that's what you're paying for. And also the extra voices if you want to, hit play and listen to the text being read.
Have you heard the text? I mean, we're talking really old voices here that are used. I mean, I was listening with Shelley to the Daily Telegraph last night, and it sounded like my computer. I just turned on my MacBook, or actually, I should say my PowerBook from
Grandma.
the 1990s.
Organ voices or whatever
all
it
that's
was.
in there, and it's like
All
I really
those.
don't want Bubbles reading the Daily Telegraph to me. So if you want those extra premium voices, then you have to pay the premium. Now, it did say something about if you've got a national talking magazine or newspaper subscription, you can get that as well, but that didn't make any sense because it wasn't giving me the option. So a bit confused by all of this. And of course, when you,
getting into books.
when you do it
It's
over the
ridiculous.
weekend, it's a nightmare because you can't call anybody. You can't
that's
call up the
right.
organization and say, how does
Yeah.
this work? But I think the Dolphin Easy Reader app is very good. It's funny. It's one of those things, I think we all do this, don't we? We kind of go through this process of, I'll deal with it later. I'll do that another day, or that's not for me, or whatever. And then you kind of, like you did it. It was you that started the ball rolling. You started playing with it, and then suddenly I'm getting a bit interested, going, "Hey, I might try this." And
Yeah.
then that was me off downloading books and
As
all
soon
kinds
as I
of
let
stuff.
you know there was the entire 4 seasons of Blackadder on there, that was it.
Which is
You
what
were
I
in.
listened to last night. That's why first thing I downloaded. I was quite happy to listen to that. I actually thought it was books. I didn't realize it was the actual show.
It's just
in
the
audio.
TV shows.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
There's a
Really
lot of
good.
stuff on there.
And
Very cool.
Caliber Audio, we use that in the UK as well. That was actually very interesting. Some cool books in there. Again, the interface is really good. It's really clean. It's very Apple TV-like in the sense that every experience with every library is the same. I like
Yes.
that. And I think that is wonderful. If you've got multiple libraries, if you're connected to Caliber, Bookshare, RNIB, or CELA in Canada, or, if you're using RNIB Newsagent in the UK for newspapers, or NFB Newsline,
It's all over the world. There's so many
there's
different libraries in there.
Hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but there's a lot of different libraries in there.
There is.
But yeah, most people probably know this. They'll be saying, what are you talking about? This is old news.
Yeah, sorry. We're coming at
figured
this
it out.
late.
Shall we talk about Hable? Shall we talk about Hable? Because
Let's talk about Hable.
Hable Easy. We talked about it last week. We played you some videos of the product and the company itself, talking about the product. But I wanted to get Freek van Welsenis back on the show because, we haven't talked to him in a while. And, I was a little bit annoyed at the fact that he didn't tell us about this new wonderful product. But anyway, he's here now to answer for himself. Freek van Welsenis, it is great to have you back here on Double Tap with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always happy to be here.
And listen, I know I gave you a bit of a hard time on the show last week about, Hable Easy. It would have been easy if you could have called us and told us about it because it sounded so cool. It's been out a year. What's going on, Freek? Have we fallen out? What have I done now?
Yeah, sorry. Things got very hectic the last 2 weeks. That's the best excuse I have.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I would always want to call you first next episode.
No, listen, hey, I'm just glad you're here, and I'm so glad we can talk about this. Hable Easy sounds wonderful. I know we talked a bit about it last week, and we did play one of your videos explaining it. What was the idea behind creating it out of what is the Hable One?
Yeah, so full disclosure, it was not my idea. It was not even the idea from someone in our team. The idea came from an assistive technology teacher. So, of course, we work a lot with our customers and users, and we talk with them a lot. And one of the teachers mentioned, hey, I really love the product. It's great. But for a lot of the people I work with, they just cannot use it. It's still too difficult because they don't know Braille. Is there a way to make a even simpler version, super simplified? And yeah, that's what we did. We asked more people if that was something they were interested in. And then we said, yeah, there's a lot of interest in this and we can probably build it. So we made a super simple, super simplified way of using your phone with the Hable Easy. One button, one function. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, it kind of goes kind of a little bit back on what was the success of the Hable One, right? Because people were actually buying Hable One who didn't know Braille and were actually using it to learn Braille. And that was kind of cool. But I guess there was always people, and I talked about this last week. I imagine there's a lot of people who bought Hable One with the intention of learning Braille, learning all the commands. And then what kind of happened was they probably, and I'm kind of projecting on other people here, but I'm kind of talking about myself, kind of ended up thinking, do you know what? I'm going to come back to this later. I'm going to relearn this. There's enough going on in my life right now. I really just want a way to simply navigate the phone, and I don't really want to have to learn Braille to do it. And I'm wondering if that's also part of the philosophy here with this, to almost, for some people, kind of rejuvenate or re-energize their love of Hable.
True, that's definitely a true thing. A lot of the people who got the Hable One initially, first they didn't know how to use Braille, and I would say still the majority started learning Braille with the Hable One. I would say by far most people would push through and would eventually learn to type in Braille in the Hable. But there was still a big group, even those who could type in Braille after a while, who said it's still, I would want to use a way more simplified way. Also, when you're out and about, so when you're outside and maybe you just want to quickly check, hey, when is that bus coming? Or I just got a message, let me quickly check who wrote the message and what they said. And if you have to get out your Hable One, you have to use two hands, you have to use a bunch of combinations together. But for them, even if you can use the Hable Easy, which is you can use it with a single hand, and you can, even when you're outside, you can quickly check what the message is or when the bus is coming. It just makes it a lot easier. So even for the group that can use both, there was an incentive for us to develop this mode.
And there's no typing available on this, is there? You can't type messages.
No, only dictation. So there's a button to activate dictation, but you cannot type any messages. No.
I've got to say, for me, that's an absolute plus, because I really only ever dictate, if I'm honest. So for me, that's a plus. I mean, I know a lot of people might want that option. So let's break this down, because you've still got Hable One, you're still selling that, and you're still making that available. You've got Hable Easy. Now, if I'm right in saying you can make Hable One into Hable Easy, but if you buy a Hable Easy, can you switch it to Hable One?
Yes, so you can switch both sides. You can switch back and forth between them. And we deliberately want to keep it that way, because if you, for whatever reason, something changed in your life, or you want to go to a different mode, you shouldn't have to pay again for the same hardware, essentially. So we want to make both available to everyone. The reason why they are different products, and also why we will market them as different products, is because most of the time the audience is really different. So on the Hable One, we see people who often either know Braille or want to learn Braille. They are a bit more technical. They want to type on their phone with the Hable One. They want to do a lot of different actions. Whereas on the Hable Easy side, we often see people who really struggle with gestures or just get frustrated using all these different gestures. They right now don't use a phone that they normally would want to, but they just can't. So we really see the different audiences. That's why we market it that way. But hey, if you want to switch between them in whatever way, we'll make that available.
And how do you switch? So I know a lot of our audience have Hable One right now, because I know when we talked about it, we get lots of people who got in touch and said, I've bought one of these, I love it. If they wanted to switch to the Hable Easy mode, what's the process? Yeah,
so what you need the newest firmware. So we have the Hable app on Android and on Apple, of course, and iOS. And there you can just download the newest firmware. And you can either download the firmware that just has Hable Easy. So there's a firmware with just Hable Easy software, and there's a firmware with Hable One software. So that's how you switch between them via the download. And there's also a firmware where you have both options at the same time. And in there, you can switch between the modes via the Hable menu. So we have a menu. This is where you choose your language, your operating system. But now you can also choose there if it's in the Hable One mode or the Hable Easy mode.
Okay, so you're not doing it on device. You're doing it via the app.
Yes, okay. That's correct.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. And I guess that opens up all kinds of opportunities down the line, right? And you mentioned hardware, and I did get a few questions from people when we talked about it saying, okay, so hang on a minute. Same hardware? So there's no need to change? I mean, there's nothing different here, right? The Hable Easy and the Hable One, they're the same hardware, right?
Well, so the hardware is the same, and the firmware is different, but there's a few more differences. But I don't want to say what all of them are, because we've done something which I think is really cool in your, let's say, packaging experience. One thing I could say, so the Hable Easy, what it has is when you get it, there's tactile stickers, so stickers that you can feel with a high contrast. So you can put the stickers on the buttons that you have assigned for your Hable Easy mode. So it's easier to remember what each button does. There's also a different type of manual, of course, in the box, but there's also a experience when you open the box that will explain you fully how you're going to use your Hable Easy. That is not text.
Oh,
I guess that's what it is. But
okay. No, that sounds cool. I mean, look, I love your passion in this, and I love the way that you're excited about all this. And I guess you get a lot of feedback from a lot of different people. It's been a while. The Hable One's been out for a little while now, and we had to talk to you. I want to say turn of last year. Talking about, and at that point, I think you got yourself into a little trouble with us because you, well, maybe not with us, but with your friends and partners, because you mentioned Hable 2, and everyone sort of jumped on. Oh, there's another one coming. So here's my question: is Hable Easy Hable 2?
No. Hable Easy is not Hable 2. Good question. This is a question I can answer. This is
okay.
Yeah. No, Hable Easy is not Hable 2. And I think for people who are following us actively, so more in our, let's say, our internal communication, like newsletter communication, they will have seen that there's been a lot of action from us in some surveys and asking a lot of questions and feedback. So there's a few things coming. Good. Yeah. Again, I wrote down for myself before me to not say too much. That's what I'll say.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we'll leave it at that. But okay, that's really interesting. One gesture which has eluded me from time to time, and it actually irritates me. I use a Bluetooth keyboard often with my phone. That's how I generally navigate and type messages, longer messages. Most of the time I'm using dictation. And I use WhatsApp all the time. And I'm using audio messages. And the gesture that I struggle most with, and I do struggle, I talk about it on the show with my essential tremor, as I often say, jokingly, it's not essential to me, but I get it anyway. I do struggle with the double tapping and the triple tapping and the number of fingers tapping and all that stuff. But the one that really irritates me and I find difficult is in WhatsApp when you're trying to record a voice message. You get to the voice message button, you got to double tap, hold, and swipe up to unlock, which is, it's doable, but it's just, with my hands, it's quite difficult. Can you do this with Hable Easy? So
you can do it right now with the Hable One. So that's something, it took us a very long time to develop that, because as you're saying, you cannot do this with a Bluetooth keyboard. I don't know of any other device they might be there that can do this, but it's really difficult to do because it's not standard built in. But you can right now already do it with the Hable One. For people that have the Hable One, you just hold E while you're hovering over the WhatsApp voice message button, and you can use this. And whenever you're done saying your message, you tap any of the buttons, and you'll send your message. For the Hable Easy, currently it's not part of the Hable Easy, but we have been getting a lot of requests from people for this specific feature. So there's a very good chance that it will be added soon. And when it's added, it's just in the app, you download the new firmware, and it's there for you.
Oh, please. Got to get that. Because that is one of those gestures, because you can't replicate it with a keyboard shortcut. There's nothing you can do. I've been through every single shortcut. I'm sure you have as well.
Yes,
there just doesn't seem to be a way to do it with a keyboard.
Yeah, there is a way. I can tell you for sure. We've tested it for a very long time. There's no way to do it.
Well, that makes me feel better, because I often thought, am I just missing something here? And I really hope there wasn't, because it was actually really annoying. I could get as far as sort of double tapping the button, and then it would just almost let go of it, right? That was about all I could do. I can't remember what the name was, like a 3D touch gesture or something. It was absolutely irritating. Shaun, last week when we were talking about this, had mentioned that he would love, and I love giving you ideas, because you go off and they percolate in your mind, and then we'll see if they come around in a year's time or not. And then we'll take a 25% cut, obviously. But here's the thing. He would love a Hable Mini, right? We have talked so often about smart canes and how, so many devices come along with ways to, navigate or do smart things using an app on a phone. But actually what most of us want to do is control our smartphone on the move with the hand that's holding, either a cane is in our hand or even with a guide dog harness. And he was saying, hey, if you could have a Hable Mini, you could control your phone with just one hand instead of having to use the other hand or hold the phone out or whatever else. So when's that happening?
1 year time max. No,
Okay.
it's a really good idea. I really like the idea. And it's something that's crossed our minds as well, and also from other users we've had the requests for this. So,
have you? Have people
we
mentioned
have.
this? Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that also means that it's a good idea. So there's a lot of challenge in this, and in like using one hand and still making it very effective. But there are a lot of ideas that we have around this. So I hope in some time we can at least show some prototypes of an idea for this.
I mean, I suppose it kind of, and it's not ideal, I suppose, because there's a lot of issues potentially, but there is a remote control method of using Hable One, which I didn't really know much about. Maybe you could explain that to those who don't know how that works, what it does.
So it's essentially it's a one-handed mode way of using your Hable One, and it's very similar to the Hable Easy. So it shares a lot in the concept. It's a bit difficult to explain because I would have to go into a lot of detail. But you press a combination of buttons after one another to use as a remote control with a one-handed mode. That's essentially how it works.
Okay. Now, in terms of pricing, because I know you've just announced that the Hable Easy will be on sale through AT Guys in the US and through Sight and Sound Technology in the UK, which is wonderful. And I believe Hable One is on sale in Canada through CNIB Smart Life Centre.
That's correct. Yes.
Hoping that will Hable Easy will go that way as well, I'm guessing, potentially?
I'm also hoping that,
Yeah, okay. What are we talking about pricing here? Let's talk US dollars for our a base point here. So how much are we paying for the Hable Easy versus the Hable One? Are the prices the same considering the hardware, or?
Yes, the prices are the same. So we, again, trying to keep it simple. The price is the same because you can also switch between the two in the firmware. So yeah, same price.
And I think I've got to say the genius here from what I'm sort of looking in on this is, the fact that you've kept the hardware the same kind of allows, and I go back to my point at the start, people who have had this device and still have this device, and it happens a lot in our world. We buy technology and, we buy it primarily because we can't get our hands on it or spend a lot of time on it, like you can walk into a Best Buy or a Walmart or a whatever and try these things out and spend time with them. You just can't, unless you go to a CSUN or you go to an NFB convention or you go to a Site Village or a Site City or whatever. Unless you can get to those places to actually get hands-on, it's very difficult to get a sense of what these devices are, so we tend to buy them. And then what happens is after a while, sometimes they just end up in the drawer. And I think with Hable Easy, there's a lot of people who are going to be pulling that Hable One back out the drawer. And I say it again for people who might have missed it, you can do that because the device you have, you can update and get Hable Easy on it. You don't have to go and buy it again. And it's not often we say that in the assistive tech community. So well done, Freek.
Yeah, I mean, this is just something that I personally find is super important. I don't know, it's a very frustrating thing for me that I know that a lot of devices end up on the shelf, which makes a lot of sense, but it's just a shame, right? All those beautifully made products, they really deserve to be used, and this was a way for us to do that. So it was actually never really in doubt for us that we would make it available for people who already have Hable One to just upgrade it. I hope that forever we will have this philosophy with the company. I think it's just an important thing to do, the good thing to do.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, everyone's digging out their Hable Ones if they haven't already and updating them and getting the apps updated and switching modes and having the fun. My question is, though, I have the Hable One. I really want those stickers that I can then put on my Hable One. Now, for people who maybe haven't followed this, there are stickers you can put onto the device to essentially denote various buttons, home button or the Siri dictation button or whatever it might be. Can you buy them separately?
Yes, you can. Yes, we've made them available on our website to get them separately. We are still discussing with the distributors if we can make it available through them, but it's such a small thing. So right now it's just via the Hable website where you can find them. Okay,
fantastic. Freek, I love having you on. Come back soon because I think our audience are going to have a lot of questions and probably will continue to have a lot of questions about Hable. So, got to come back at some point and maybe do a Q&A with us. We'll put our questions to you. You up for that?
Yes, always.
Fantastic. Freek, thank you so much for coming on. And well done with Hable Easy. It's a brilliant idea.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
There you go. Freek van Welsenis there from Hable, one of the co-founders. And what do you think, Shaun? More questions than answers?
Well, I've got so many questions. For technical reasons, I couldn't ask any questions there, but I've got so many going across my mind right now. This is very much like the Synaptech or the Blind Shell, or a simple interface to do the main features or the main controls of your smartphone. Obviously, it's a good idea, right? So I will say, you mentioned things going back in the drawer. And you were just so correct. You start off with all these, right, I'm going to learn every single command to do absolutely everything. It's difficult. There is a learning curve there. And this answers that. Hey, you got left, right, activate. You got your dictation button. You got your voice assistant button, and you've got a back button. You've got the button 7 is home. Button 8 is something else. I can't actually remember now. But it all does, one specific task. And people... It's just an easy way in. I think it's a great idea.
I've got mine in my hand right now. I've got my Hable. I dug it out.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I dug it out because I wanted to update it. Now, I will say that the process of doing that is a little bit confusing because you have to go into experimental features on the app. And the app is very simple. I mean, it's literally 2 tabs at the bottom. And if you go to the firmware tab, you'll find at the very top of the screen, you'll find experimental or experiential features, I think they call it. And when you go into that, you can then scroll through the various options. There's things in there that say, do not use. And it's like, okay.
It scared me off. You told me. You just did it. Well done, Stu. I said, I can't find the Hable Easy firmware. You do double tap on experimental features or firmware. And it says, don't do this unless you're explicitly told to by a Hable support.
But there's a big list you got to go through as well. So you go through that list to get to Hable Easy. And then, as you say, when you double tap that, you get the warning, but
I still didn't find the one for Hable One and Easy combined, so you can switch between the two. I haven't found that one yet, but hey, double check on yours and see if it's there. I'm going to look into this again, but it's still nice. It was it was easy to do. I suppose the clue's in the name.
I mean, it was. I mean, I think I mentioned the Revo keyboard the other day in passing, and I had a lot of hopes for that. Greg had really sold it to me in Pennsylvania. He was like, this is amazing. And it is amazing. It's
That's
great,
exactly
great
what you said. Your first impressions were you were loving it.
I did. I cannot figure out how to change the settings. I've gone through the manual, I've read it, and it just doesn't make sense to me as to how I'm supposed to be able to change it to be a T9 keyboard. It seems to want to do its own thing with this QWERTY or whatever it is keyboard that it has.
Greg's writing an email right now.
I can imagine he is. It. Yeah, and that's good. Please do. And if there's anyone who's got a tip or a way to do it, because it seems like an awful waste not to use it.
Send it to me.
It's the fact. Well, look, it's the fact that it's got the speaker and the microphone. Was it microwave? Microphone.
It's got a microwave
in it. It's an incredible device. Homer Simpson developed this. No, it's a great thing because it's got the microphone and the speaker in there, so you can have all your audio coming through this one device. You don't need at all to pull your phone out your pocket, which I think is wonderful. But I just need to figure out the typing thing. There's also a lot of commands to learn, a lot of holding one button to do another thing, to press another. It's just
the Revo Easy. That's what you need.
My brain is just not capable of this anymore. I think it was at one time, but I cannot seem to retain this stuff at all.
Well, it's not only that. It's sometimes you feel overwhelmed by it. And as you said, you'll put it down and not come back to it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you got this easy way in, this is a taster of what it can do. It sort of gives you more incentive to learn more later on. So yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm intrigued by all of them. I really am. I think it's a great idea, and there's a lot of people out there who I think do basic tasks on their phone. And ultimately, it is just navigation, right? It's just getting around the phone and the challenge of using
use it in the bath all the time.
Yeah, well, yes, there you go.
Swiping through YouTube or whatever. Well, yes. Sorry about that. Don't be mean to me.
Hang on. There we go.
Oh dear, is that the end of the show? Please say yes.
I'm really hoping we're near the end, but it's telling me we're not. But listen, I mean, not only that, I've also got with me here, because I don't know why I've just brought everything in, brought all my toys to school today. But I've also got in my hand here the Logitech Keys to Go keyboard. Now, regular listeners / viewers to this show will might or may be aware that I got this from Logitech. They actually sent me this across. They sent me the white one. I then went out and bought the black one, or grey, or whatever colour it's meant to be, because this one doesn't Look, I don't know how stained these things get,
Oh.
but I don't want to know how stained these things get.
You talk about me in the bath as a terrible image. What are you doing to your keyboard?
Tomato sauce or, coleslaw or something.
Coleslaw? You've never had coleslaw in your life.
I've heard of coleslaw. Counts for something, doesn't it?
Hang on. We'll just keep it clean. So you bought a second keyboard?
I kind of preferred the darker one. I know that's terrible. I know that's bad.
Well, if you want to, get rid of
splurged.
the other one, then send it my way.
That's full of stains. But enjoy.
Okay.
The dog-chewed AirPods all over again. Listen, we're almost out of time. Thank you so much for all your feedback. And we'll get into more of that tomorrow because, so much to get through. But Negative Julian has a response we're going to air tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
To the whole sunglasses debate. He has more to come on this.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't quick enough, but there we go. Anyway, that's it. We're out of time. Thank you, Shaun. I'm off to greet Mr. F as he makes his way to Double Tap Towers.
Be nice. God bless you, Mr. F. Thank you.
And if we still have a show, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye forever.